We just got back from our Senior Bowl and been going for a long, long time. And a man that has also been dealing with the Senior Bowl for a long, long time is Taylor Zarzour, my buddy, which, of course, you can catch him on ESPN doing play-by-play. You caught him yesterday on Sirius doing the broadcast of the Senior Bowl. And let's bring him aboard. Taylor, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, how long have you been coming to my hometown?
20 years, right? I think it's about 20 years.
It's got to be. I think it's longer than that.
Yeah, I think this was my 21st, but I think for those of you out there that are listening, Taylor and I have known each other for over 20 years now, and we first met, and it had to do with Mobile. It had to do with the Senior Bowl. I was kind of like trying to convince my station that the draft is important and that we should cover the Senior Bowl and all that. So, after I twisted my program director's arm to hire a stringer in Mobile to get a sound from the Senior Bowl, and maybe I think Taylor, did we have a UM player there or not? I think we did, right? And that's kind of what it was.
Yeah,
also,
you
right?
did. Yeah.
And so I hired Taylor to be our stringer in Mobile to cover the Senior Bowl. Since then, we've been friends. And it's, you know how it is, Taylor. This business is so damn small. It's a joke,
it is.
Man. It's a joke.
Yep.
It really is, man. So how you been, brother? You been doing good?
Been good. Been doing great. Yeah, and a lot of pretty busy time with all my work with Sirius XM PGA Tour Radio. We had the merchandise show in Orlando last week, and then so every single year I go to that for 3-4 days, and then I go to Mobile and call the Senior Bowl. Just about everybody has left town, and I'm coming to town to call the game. But but I really enjoy it. Pat Kerwin and Jim Miller do a great job, as you know, on NFL radio, and I love calling the game with them each year. And saw some really good performances yesterday.
Yeah. Hey, before I get into the Senior Bowl, because I know you do the golf a lot, I just got to mention something, because you and I have been covering and talking about all sports our entire lives. And I've had fun at his expense and made fun of his situation when his ex-wife was knocking him out with a club and knocking out his tooth. But in the end, considering everything that dude's come back from, personally and professionally, Tiger Woods might be mentally the most strongest dude I have ever met or seen in any sport whatsoever, because I don't know how many guys can come back from that many surgeries and all the personal issues that also went to it. Mentally tough, dude. And I thought it was, when he kind of went into that shell for a couple of years, I thought that was kind of soft. But he had to kind of rehab. And the way he's bounced back, I got to say, dude, I'm super impressed.
You should be, and I think you said it well. I mean, for somebody to go through that sort of public humiliation that's that famous and be able to see the other side of it and write a different script to the ending of his career is remarkable. I don't know that he thought this was possible a couple of years ago, just given the pain, the physical pain he was in. And I don't think that any of us thought it was possible either, but he has. And I also will tell you, that he has become a much more approachable person.
Yes.
He's not going to host his own radio show at any point. He's not the most sociable guy in the world, but he is much more approachable, much more comfortable in his own skin than I've ever seen him before. And, he's 44 years old, and you could still argue he's one of the best players in the world. At the end of the year, he was the best player in the world. And who knows, maybe he has a really low round later today and wins his 83rd PGA tournament, which would be an all-time record passing Sam Snead. If it doesn't happen today, it's going to happen, though, this year. And this guy has many more golf tournaments to win. It's an amazing comeback story, and I think that his talent level surpasses anybody that's ever played the game.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. But man, the way he's come back, man, I gotta admire the hell out of that, and that should be a great motivation for a lot of people out there going through adversity, man. That should be the center of their world there, to be able to try to come back from something like that. All right, Taylor, as you know, my brother, you are in Dolphins country. We are desperate for a quarterback. They've been dying to replace Dan Marino for 7,000 years. So yesterday, some of the guys that we were talking about all week while I was there at the Senior Bowl, was Herbert. Obviously, Gordon was another guy, and Jordan Love were the three guys that we were really talking about. But overall, what did you see from the quarterbacks? What did you like?
Well, let me qualify these remarks by, I know you know this, but for your audience, by saying my father went to Coral Gables High School and grew up in town. So this is near and dear to my heart and always has been.
That's right.
And I think just as anybody else is listening, I'm very fascinated with what the Defends are going to do with those 6 picks in the first 3 rounds. I thought Fitzmagic, had a really impressive finish to the season, and I wouldn't be upset or disappointed if he's the quarterback for one more year and they decide to take a quarterback in the first round of the 2021 draft. Maybe it's Trevor Lawrence with all these picks they have. But it certainly sounds like the Dolphins are extremely interested in Tua, and that if they can believe that he is on the mend, it might be a good situation to have Fitz and Tua there next year. But if they're going with somebody that's healthy right now, Justin Herbert's your guy. The guy has a very quick release. His ability to understand an offense at this age is very impressive. He had an incredible week. He went into the week, everybody was talking about how he's an introvert, he's from out west, and I think that he quieted all those thoughts. A lot of people, I think after a few days, said this guy's sociable, he's a leader. He commands respect. He gained a ton of it from his South teammates all week long, and I thought he certainly didn't do anything to disappoint when he played in the first quarter of the game on Saturday. So I think Herbert, if it's going to be really interesting to see between Burrow, Tua, and Herbert what order they go in. Tua not being able to do anything really until the draft starts. You wonder what kind of impact that has on him. Is there anyone other than the Dolphins that would make that pick at number 5? But I think Herbert in the next couple of months, his stock is going to continue to rise. And I thought that the first take-home message from Mobile this week was the impressive week that Justin Herbert had.
Yeah, and listen, I thought of Tannehill right away on that one drop where he saw the defensive end coming at him, and he waited. He didn't wait at all. He took off and had that 19-yard run and avoided that sack. The guy that was here for 7 years, that's a sack, dude. That's a sack.
No, there's no question. I mean, and Tannehill took more than anybody in that time, and it's because he's a wide receiver. I understand he played quarterback for 7 years for the Dolphins, and now is handing the ball left and right to Henry in Nashville. And he's an amazing human being, Ryan Tannehill, but he doesn't have quarterback instincts. Justin Herbert has been a quarterback his entire life, and you're right. He showed those instincts, and obviously Fitzpatrick has thrown a lot of interceptions, and he has no fear whatsoever. He's the anti-Ryan Tannehill when it comes to challenging a defense, and he's very quick to make decisions. I think Herbert's very similar in that regard with his ability to get rid of the football.
What'd you think of Anthony Gordon? I thought he had a good week, and obviously, he had him to 3 scores, dude.
Yeah, the Washington State quarterback was terrific in the third quarter, and similarly to Herbert, was very good distributing the football. I think the fact that you've seen Gardner Minshew, who doesn't have the size that Gordon has, succeed in Jacksonville, at least in parts of the season last year, I think will make some general manager, maybe in the 3rd, 4th round, do the same thing with Anthony Gordon in the NFL draft, because you see a guy, Mike Leach, coach Luke Falk, coach Gardner Minshew, coach Anthony Gordon in 3 consecutive seasons, and this offense clearly, this system, this air raid system, now we're seeing examples of it in the NFL. So I think Gordon had a good game and a good week, and I think that he certainly made himself some more money.
Yeah, he doesn't have a great arm, but he has the arm you need in the NFL to make any throw possible. He's not as he doesn't have the Herbert gun, but he definitely has a good enough arm to succeed. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know, 2nd or 3rd rounds or something like that. I don't think he'll fall more than that. I think this league is so desperate that I think he'll get taken early on. Jordan Love, I thought, had a pretty good week. Not a great game, but what'd you think of him?
Yeah, he did. He certainly has the size. The thing that concerns me a little bit about Love is that when he's facing his best competition, he has not played his best football. I did the LSU game last year, and he was really rattled by the size that he saw on the other side of the field. Took some sacks in that game, and you're right. Yesterday in the game, he didn't play his best football either. We're going to have to see if Jordan Love has a confidence level when he's playing, in the NFL to be successful. It's one thing in the Mountain West just for you to be 6'4", 225 pounds and take over a game. It's another thing entirely when you're playing the SEC or the Big Ten or you're then playing the NFL and you don't have your best performances. So I want to see Love show some improvement in these next couple of months, but I'm not so sure if Jordan has helped himself by going to Mobile this year.
Yeah, I think he may even still sneak into the first round only because of desperation, right? I mean, I saw Blaine Gabbert and I saw Ryan Tannehill get taken in the top 10, and both those guys had so many holes in their game. And we keep watching it, Taylor, that teams are so desperate for this position that they're going to reach a little bit. And I think that's what's going to happen with Jordan. I think people are going to reach a little bit because I don't think he's a first rounder, but something tells me he's going to sneak in there somehow or another because he does have the physical ability, Taylor, right? I mean, that's
he
the
does.
one thing
No, there's no question about it. I mean, He has an NFL size at 6'4" and 225 pounds. I mean, that he is, when he walks out on the football field, you think, okay, this guy was born to play at the professional level. The guy that I think probably hurt himself a bit was Jalen Hurts. Hurts didn't get any help from his offensive line. Terrence Steele, the left tackle from Texas Tech, got destroyed by Bradley Anae from Utah time and time again. Anae had 4 sacks in the game. Well, at least 3. There was another that I guess they could have called a sack, but Anae was abusing Terrence Steele to the point where Hurts just started to have to hand off the football and turn into a zone read quarterback like we saw so often at Oklahoma and at Alabama. Hurts never has shown an ability to be accurate with the intermediate ball. He did throw one really good pass on a third down yesterday that he fit into a window on the sideline on an out route that is exactly what I think NFL coaches want to see from Jalen, but he's going to have to really prove himself in the months to come. There are going to be some scouts out there that are going to say, gosh, he looks like, he's built like Dalvin Cook. Is this guy a running back or is this guy some other position in the NFL than quarterback? I know Jalen's been a quarterback his entire life, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen with him in the next few months. Pat Kerwin was saying, you look at RG3, he doesn't really have a whole lot left in the tank. Could you see a Jalen Hurts be maybe the backup to Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, given his skill set? That makes a lot of sense. Maybe they take a flyer on Hurts in the 5th round or something.
I'll add another guy on another team, Seattle. I mean, they had Trevor Boykin there. The only thing is Trevor would get arrested all the time. So that's usually a problem when your backup quarterback's getting arrested. And you want to have somebody that kind of is athletic and can do some of the things that Russell, well, nobody can do what Russell does, but you know what I'm saying. So I could see Jalen Hurts being drafted by either Baltimore or Seattle or Arizona, maybe even Arizona. Actually, now that I think about it, those are the kind of dudes in the systems that he fits. But I'm with you. I think Jalen is a gimmick guy at best, is what he's going to do. I think he needs to take a page out of Trayvon Hill. What is it? Tyson Hill. Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Right, Taysom Hill, or whatever the kid's name from New Orleans. Maybe that's...
Taysom, it was at BYU, and now is a catch-all for the Saints. Yeah, you're thinking Miami linebacker Trayvon Hill.
I'm mixing my guys up, but that I think that's what he needs to do. He needs to be like the kid in New Orleans, because I think that's what he's going to be, because he's such a great athlete. You might be able to use him in multiple ways, and that might be a way that he can earn himself some money. Hey, look at this kid from New Orleans. He's up for free agency, bro. He's going to make himself a lot of money because he's one of the best players on that Saints team now.
He is, no question about it. I mean, Hill's got a bright future and was sensational in that loss in the playoffs as well. So you're going to have to be able to be a Swiss Army knife. I mean, you look at Deebo Samuel and what he's going to do in Miami next week. I think this guy's turned into quickly one of the better skill players in the NFL as a rookie. And, he can run down on kicks. He can kick return. He can punt return. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He can throw the ball. The guy can do everything. So I think if you have more than one skill at the pro level, it's going to serve you well, certainly in this era of professional football. And Jalen does have some of those skills. So it's going to be interesting to see. But you're right. I mean, getting back to the Dolphins, I think it's going to be fascinating to see how many of these guys from the Senior Bowl that Flores and Greer decide to take a flyer on at some point during the draft. I do think that they're guys like obviously Tua at the top of the board, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a guy that can catch so many passes out of the backfield that the Dolphins, I'm sure, have a tremendous amount of interest in. But when you start looking at second and third round picks, if they want to take another wide receiver, Jawan Jennings of Tennessee would be a guy that would fit the bill of somebody that might be a Miami Dolphin in the future. Pass rushers, Joshua Uche at Michigan State, Bradley Anai at Utah are guys that obviously the Dolphins desperately need pass rushers. Those are a couple of guys that the Dolphins, I think, would have some interest in.
By the way, I loved watching Joshua Kelly all week long, and I thought he had a pretty decent game, too. Kelly's one of those guys, and Pirine, both guys. Pirine, isn't he from Mobile? I think he is from Mobile, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah. He's had a touchdown in a stadium he used to play in high school football games. It was crazy to see him back there in that game. But, yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn at Vandy had a good week as well. Did not play in the game. They just for precautionary reasons. But Kelly's a physical runner, the UCLA tailback that you just referenced, that did have a good game. So, yeah, if you don't want to take that second or third first-round choice that the Dolphins have with a running back, they're going to have an opportunity to get one of those guys you just referenced in the second or third round with one of those picks.
Yeah, no, I got to tell you, last week at the East-West Shrine game, there was a Princeton QB, and what's his name now? I forgot his damn name now, Bill. What's his name? Jacobson, or what's the kid's name now? Damn it.
Kevin Davidson.
Kevin Davidson. I like that kid. Have you seen him at all? Do you know
Princeton.
him? Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit of him, but I heard he had a big game last week.
Yeah, I like him, man, as a project. I thought that's one of those guys that if you're the Dolphins, I mean, you got 14 picks. That's the other thing that I've been saying, Taylor. If you're gonna take Tua at 5, I need you to be Jimmy Johnson or Mike Shanahan. Jimmy took Steve Walsh the year they took Troy Aikman because Gil Brandt had to scream at Jimmy like, "Come on, dude, you got to take Troy." All right, we'll take Troy, and then he took Steve in the supplemental, and then Shanahan, the owner, wanted RG3. He wasn't really an RG3 guy, so he took Kirk Cousins. That's what if I'm the Dolphins and I've got 14 picks, you know what? Dedicate 2 of them to quarterbacks. If you're going to take Tua, then go. Get Anthony Gordon. Get Nate Stanley. Get the Princeton kid. Get somebody else, because that way Tua can be put on ice. Let him get healthy completely next year. And then you have Rosen and the second guy that you draft battle and learn behind Fitzpatrick.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, if they don't do that, then they have to do it again in 2021, get an additional quarterback for insurance because of what you just referenced. But I think that most of us right now believe that the Dolphins are going to want to take Tua with the 5th pick. What will be interesting is the 3rd and the 4th pick. It would, for example, the Detroit Lions, they're not going to draft a quarterback. They're still going to stick with Stafford, but are they going to make the Dolphins believe that they're shopping those picks? So that's going to be what's fascinating, is if the Dolphins still have the opportunity at number 5 to make that selection. But assuming they do, and Tua needs months and months and months of recovery, Fitz is your quarterback again next year, then you are going to need somebody else out there on the field, obviously, to be an insurance policy. So if it doesn't happen in 2020, it's going to happen in 2021. You're right. I think we're going to see several quarterbacks selected by the Dolphins.
There you go. All right, so Taylor, before I let you go, my brother, what's the Super Bowl pick? Where you going, Kansas City or you going San Francisco?
I'm going Andy Reid to finally win the big one. I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. First time they're in the game in 50 years, which is an amazing story. I know that the last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl, it was in the same stadium. But I think this one belongs to the Chiefs. I think they have too much firepower on offense, and Mahomes is too much of a difference maker in this game. I love the 49ers at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football, but Mahomes' ability to win plays, even when his offensive line can't protect him, is almost unprecedented. And I think that he's going to take his team to victory on Sunday. But I expect a good game. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think the Chiefs will win a game that will be very entertaining for 3+ hours.
So are you going to be at the draft in Vegas? You coming out?
No, I'm going to be watching people like you talk about the draft in Las Vegas. But I'm going to be sitting back and tell you, I have never been this interested in a draft before. So as a lifelong Dolphins guy, I'll be paying very close attention to what the Fins do in all of those rounds on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Well, Taylor, I got to tell you, dude, we're going to be out there. We're going out there for a week. Actually, we're going out there for 10 days now because we're going to go to Oakland and we're going to go see Pearl Jam for 2 nights, and then we're popping over to Vegas for the week. And dude, we're broadcasting at this place called Tommy Rockers, and we're going to have about 300 Dolphins with us every day out there. So we'll be doing the draft, all Dolphin style, obviously, with the Dolphins angle. And with 14 picks, there's going to be a lot of action from the Dolphins. This is going to be a lot of fun, man. This is, I've told Dolphins that this could be the watershed moment for us.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
you saw some real improvement in the second half of the season, and clearly this team is taking a liking to Brian Flores, but there's not a lot of talent on that roster yet. And so you're right. I think that 2020 is the moment where either if Steve Ross is ever going to be around to see his franchise become successful and get to be to the point where they're a Super Bowl contender, I think this is the moment it happens. If they swing and miss on the draft, then I think that unfortunately years from now, some other owner is going to be in charge of the Dolphins when they're finally successful again. So you're right. I think this is the biggest moment in the Ross tenure, at least of his ownership of the Dolphins.
You're the best, my brother. Thank you for taking some time on short notice. Great call with the game yesterday. I was in the car listening. Appreciate it always, and appreciate the friendship more than anything, Taylor. Thank you.
You got it, my friend. Good to talk to you, Big O.
You got it, baby. You be good. There you go. Taylor Zarzour, man, joining us here